How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you.
I'm good.
So before we talk about the music and your latest releases, I'd like to go back to the beginning.
Okay.
Do you remember the first album you ever bought?
First one I ever bought?
Of your own money?
I remember the first one that I asked for. I actually don't remember the first one. Oddly enough, I don't remember the first one that I saved the money and spent. It was probably.
Well, which one was
I think I know what it was. I think it was one of those Columbia record clubs that I joined, and so I think that it was probably like 11 records all at once, and it was like Led Zeppelin 1 through 4, and Quiet Riot, and so it was a whole bunch all at the same time. I think is what it was. So.
Well, now I'm curious, which was the one you asked for?
Well, the one that I asked for all of them. I made a list. They were all records that I wanted. I was trying to find actually the song. It was Kashmir, turned out to be what the song was, but it was in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. There's a scene where Damone is talking to this kid about his first date, and he's like, put on the second side of Led Zeppelin 4, and it's guaranteed, you'll be in there. So I bought Led Zeppelin 4, and that song that, like I said, it ended up being Kashmir, which is on Physical Graffiti. So, of course, the very last album that I bought of Led Zeppelin was Physical Graffiti, and then I finally found the song, but just so happened to be. Oh. Slayer is coming through the room.
But so was this your first? Was this a thing that kind of compelled you to go into music yourself? This kind of first introduction to?
I remember actually. I think I may have already been playing in a band at that point. That's probably not true. No, it was. I remember sitting in my room, doing homework, listening to Led Zeppelin really loud on a stereo that's pointed straight at my head. And I had this little keyboard, and I was trying to figure out how I was just playing blues scales along with Led Zeppelin, but the keyboard was super crappy and sounded terrible. And so I put somehow, I don't know how I came up with this idea, I put a piece of paper with a penny sitting on top of it over the speaker, and then it would get all distorted. And that was my little fantasy of playing in a band like Led Zeppelin, but. The first rock band thing that I ever did was actually for a talent competition at my school, and we did Big Bottoms by Spinal Tap. We did oh my God, why am I blanking on the name of the song? An AC/DC song. You're having trouble with your high school head. She's giving you the blues. You know the song I'm talking about? I can't remember the name of it right now, but anyway, that was the song that we did. And then a Misfits cover. So
I wrote a couple of. I think it were your old band names down.
Oh my God!
I'm not sure if it's right, but
all right.
Crimson Sludge.
Yes, that was the one that did those two songs. Actually, as a matter of fact, how the hell did you find that?
Research.
Internet research. Yeah.
And then there was Bloated Roaches.
Yep, that was another high school band of mine. So Bloated Roaches was sort of basically a grunge band. A couple friends of mine and I were super into Soundgarden and Mudhoney and Tad and that kind of stuff when we were in high school. So, and there was no way to hear any music, anything even remotely like that where I lived. It was just very far from Seattle. So we just made our own band. We made up a bunch of, mostly it was originals, and then we did a couple covers of a couple Soundgarden songs and a Mudhoney song.
At what point did you start writing yourself? Because you say
it was in that band, Bloated
okay,
Roaches.
okay.
Yeah, so I was probably 16 maybe.
Okay.
And
then what compelled you to write? Was it just to get some songs out?
Yeah, I think I was listening to, I was really into Metallica, and they were too technically, I was there's no way I could play in a band like Metallica. But then Mudhoney and especially Mudhoney just felt like it was something that I could also do. And so, I don't know, it was I guess it was from doing those cover songs, figuring out how to play. I've been playing in band, piano and saxophone for years, so I knew I could play music. And but playing in that cover band was like, oh, I can actually do this. I can play rock. I can play guitar, and so yeah, then it was just a natural thing. Like, but I want to play my own songs. I want to make up my own music. So I don't know. I can't remember like what exactly it was that switched in my head. But
when then did the current band, Red Fang, when did that become a reality? Was it long after these other bands?
Oh yeah, many years after. So those bands that I mean, I'm an old man now, so those bands were bands I had in high school that were done as like I graduated high school in 1991, and Red Fang didn't start we didn't start playing together, all four of us, until like fall of 2005. So there was you do the math, whatever the break is, 14 years between, those bands and Red Fang started.
But I assume you played music in...
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. I played in tons of bands in between. Lots and lots of bands.
What then made Red Fang different than all the others?
There's just something about the chemistry of the four of us playing together. All of us had played in various bands together, and like some of us with each other, or in just mutual. We're mutual admirers of each other, and there was little elements of magic in each of our individual things, but somehow just the combination of us just turned into something that just works better than any of those other things did. So you can't really explain it, I don't think.
And one of the things that shines through in your music is a sense of humor to make light of a lot of things. So was this always in the music from the start?
Well, it was never really, it's not in the music. Most of the music, lyrically, is pretty dark, and the music is like, mostly kind of heavy and a lot of minor keys and whatever. It's just us, like, we express that darkness through the music, and then we don't act like that in person. So, our videos reflect like our exterior personalities, and then the music has a little bit more of the reflection of what's going on maybe inside. At least me and Brian, because we write most of the lyrics,
And so can I assume then that the lyrics for both of you are personal and autobiographical?
Sometimes. I mean, sometimes you write about personal stuff without even meaning to or noticing that you did, and later you'll read back and realize that I was exploring something in myself I wasn't even aware of. But in a lot of cases, lyrics that I write will be inspired by like a documentary I see on TV or like things that just kind of pique my interest and get me thinking about stuff outside of myself, like problems that other people have that seem a lot more serious than my problems. So.
And as you say, then because the lyrics are quite dark, and does having this lighter side to it, does it make it easier, or why do you think that is important?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I just feel like that, like I said, at least for myself, I express the darkness through the music, and that I don't want to carry it around with me all the time. I want to be able to express it and get it out. I want it to be a release and not like a, I don't want to live in that dark cloud all the time. So, I think it's bad for your health if you're always living in that kind of cloud. So. And
you mentioned that the lighter side comes through in the videos, and you mentioned also Spinal Tap earlier on, and in Crows in Swine, in the video, they turn up the knob to 11. So was this a...
That actually wasn't, that was just Adam, the guy who made the video. That wasn't our input. We had very little input for that video. He sent us a treatment, and then we offered a couple suggestions for like what our superpowers should be. But no, that was him who just did that. But yeah, I mean, it's impossible to avoid references to turning it to 11 because everyone wants to do that. Everyone wants to turn it up louder,
Okay. Aside from the albums you've released before, there's one more thing. Whales and Leeches, which was the previous record.
Yeah.
There's also a song on the first album with the same name.
Right.
So how did you end up calling the album Whales and Leeches?
Because it was actually we went through the same process with Murder the Mountains. That is also a song that, it wasn't on the first record, maybe it was, but that's a really old song of ours. We've always liked that imagery. It just sounds kind of like dark and ominous. And similar with Whales and Leeches, that just sounds cool. And so we were thinking of other album titles, and they were all just kind of not really working. And so we said, well, it worked for Murder the Mountains. Let's see if we can do the same thing for this one. Just find an old song title that seems to match the mood of the record, and that one just worked. So.
Okay. And this album, it was released in 2013, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I assume you've been writing a lot since. So is there a plan for a next album in the near future?
We're hoping to be. Our plan is to be in the studio in January of next year. So we have a couple of new songs that we've been playing on tour that are basically done, and we're hoping to get a couple more songs that will. We're hoping to get quite a few more songs all finished in time to do this U.S. tour we're doing in the fall. And then the idea is that once we're done with everything at home, then we'll like try to do the record outside of Portland and do like 4 or 5 shows on the way to recording, and then play the songs live for a few shows. But yeah, we've got a bunch of we have probably 8 different songs demoed already. So we're gonna try to just have like 12 solid songs that we take to the studio.
And of those songs, you say they're already there. So do you already have a sense of where the album is going?
Not yet, because we haven't we've demoed those 8, but they're not finished. We've just done the rough, all of the bass and drums and guitars, but we haven't added the vocals or overdubs or anything, so we don't know what the final versions are going to sound like quite yet. But I don't know, everything I've been writing has been real slow and dirgy, but I don't know where that comes from. So when we go back and we're going to start writing again right after this tour. And I don't know what'll happen, but.
And in terms of the lyrics, are you in a certain mood or a certain mind space?
I guess that I'm writing a lot more personally, more about my own life this time, than less about stuff that I see in documentaries or read in books. But
Why?
Well, I don't know. I guess that I've gone through some changes in my life recently, and so I've been thinking about stuff a lot, and I've been thinking more introspectively, and so it's there's a wealth of information in that to draw from for that kind of stuff.
Can you give an example of something, sort of what it is?
No.
Or is it too early?
Not yet.
Fair enough. Then finally, is there already an album title? Will you pick one of the?
We'll probably just steal an old song. So maybe I don't know, Witness or Black Hole or something. We'll see.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure.